Hello, Sujatro. How are you?
I'm good, Arijit. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I was just thinking that our exhibition, The Geography of Hate, is going to be live in few days in Oyoun from 8th of April. And I was thinking that how unfortunate it is that because of the pandemic, a huge amount of people cannot come and see the exhibition. But this also allows us to, share the show to a much broader global audience. So I was just thinking, how do we communicate this show with a larger audience? So in my head, I was just going through few questions for you, and maybe I'll just start with this. Start with the title of the show itself. That what do you mean when you say the geography of hate? So how does what is it exactly for the exhibition?
Yeah, through the title Geography of Hate, I wanted to point out how hate has been used as a tool of systemic oppression over the years, over the time, from the time of the colonial rule till today, how it has been used by the establishment over and over again against people who are somehow otherized through hate. And yeah, through the exhibition, I tried to bring different voices together, and I tried to do a competitive study and like how people see hate. And yeah, that's what the exhibition talks about.
So, in the beginning of the exhibition, we see that there is a very violent video which actually you compiled during the Delhi program or the Delhi riots that were happening. So, how do you respond to that inceptory video? Because the exhibition kind of stands on its shoulder that people come and, like, the study that you were talking about was basically people coming and seeing this video and interacting with it, and then you kind of recorded their galvanic skin responses and other physical situations, I would say, if I may say, through a device. And then there was this whole idea came up, and then you also included multiple artists. So if you can explain a bit about this process and how it all happened, how it all came together.
I started the exhibition as a research project. I wanted to see how people react. I wanted to record a bodily experience of looking at hate, because of course we were doing this project, and during the time of pandemic there was no option to go to India, and of course the situation is difficult to go to India as well. So I wanted to call people from different parts of the world and to bring them kind of experience a certain situation. Of course, Delhi riot was the trigger, and those were few of the videos which were collected through different mediums. That is something which I wanted to show to people, and I wanted to see and document how they react. So I had a device which is called the GSR, or the galvanic skin response, which was used to record their bodily experience. And then I did want to really see how different artists from different parts of the world react to a certain graph, which was the experience which was recorded, and how do people perceive the graph? How do people um, kind of bring that graph into a performance itself? So that is how the inception of Geography of Hate started, and that is how the process evolved. And we have an exhibition in few days.
Thinking of all of these things, that how you are also a very prominent political activist. So how you also see your this process as an activist, understanding this from the activist's perspective. How do you see this exhibition? Not only talks about the artistic side of it, but also the activism part of it. So how do you deal with it? What are your thoughts about this?
A person, an artist, an activist who's staying out of the country, my understanding of the country has been going through systemic change through the events which is taking place in India, and that is something which made me think. So, being a political artist or an activist who really cares about where that person comes from, that's how I did want to talk about what is going on. So, me being an artist is always has been it has always been an aim that to work for social justices, and that is something which always went through my mind in order to contribute and like to voice opinions through my art. Also, the kind of this brings me to a question that you are also an artist who's based out of Germany, and you when I reached out to you asking you to curate this exhibition, I really thought that, okay, there are many people who would not involve themselves in such a political project when it talks about politics of certain nature. So why did you think of involving yourself in this art project? And also I wanted to ask you that, why do you think there are not enough artists who are voicing their opinions, being an artist, staying in India or staying outside of India?
Yeah, actually, I think when you asked me to curate this exhibition in its form, that what it is now, uh, I did not think so much before, saying yes to it or saying no to it, or how I responded to it, because I come from a lineage of artists, like, because I studied in the Baroda school. And I come from this lineage of artists like Ghulam Mohammad Sheikh, and then B.V. Suresh, Indrapramit Roy, or Nilima Sheikh, Anita Dubey. This whole lineage I follow, and these people have been very prominently vocal about, things which have been bothering the society for years. And also in terms of understanding the politics of Baroda school itself in today's context, like how after the incident of Chandra Mohan, how the entire institution was engulfed in fire through different mediums of violence and hatred. So, as an artist, I am also somebody who is deeply invested in such kind of curatorial projects. Like my other curatorial project, which was called Manifesto for Artists in a Strong State, invites artists from 9 different countries, which are currently going through multiple suppressive moments. Uh, and coming back to the later part of the question, when you were asking me that how not a lot of artists or people from the cultural background are speaking up to this, I feel that this is also happening because there is a very prominent sense of disassociating yourself with the mass, because like what maybe Geeta Kapoor points out in some of her, like one of her very famous texts called The Citizen Artist and Secular Artist, that being secular and being citizen, and then bringing it together in this larger umbrella of artists becomes very problematic in contemporary Indian art scene. Like if you what Sehmat was doing after the death of Shabdar Hashmi and how it was bringing artists, it is almost currently invisible in the context of Indian art world. Whatever is happening, the artists who are prominently voicing out their opinions in terms of visual art or in terms of political art, they are either too celebrated or too marginalized, even in the academia of artistic discourses. If you voice out your opinions politically, you are obviously being looked at from the lens of Marxism, which is even if you ask yourself to have an opinion, you are being categorized as a Marxist. Like if we look into the whole incident of Rohit Vemula, how Rohit Vemula was murdered through the system that we live in, and how there is this huge narrative on the national television, and how there were multiple people coming out and voicing out their opinions, and how they were being categorized in a way. And specifically, if we look into Indian art system, there is a very prominent thing that is there: the privilege and the systemic nepotism that is ingrained in Indian art world, that never allows people to come out in that way. And being a young artist, saying these things out loud actually jeopardizes a lot of things for myself. But I think it's better let than never. And with this answer, I would also throw the ball in your court. That how do you encompass this exhibition as a whole in its understanding? Like how did the artists come up? Like if we look into the artists, they are very very interesting. This is a very broad spectrum of artists. Someone like Amir Aziz, someone like Ishwari Basu, or or someone like the Delhi puppetry group from Lalabhai Bhatt, how all of these people, or even Siddesh Gautam, all of these people are coming together under one umbrella. How do you respond to this?
Um, as I said, I did want to see how different form of artists react to the idea of hate, and how do they interpret that particular graph which was given to them and asked to create a performance. I did want to see that how would they express themselves. So of course these are people whom I have followed and known for a long while. These are artists who have been practicing and moderately speaking about the systemic oppression which is taking place in India for a while. And Amir, Siddesh, these are people who are very prominent voices against the fight against fascism in India. But Ishwari comes from a very different background. But of course, me knowing Ishwari personally, she always expressed her opinions in a very strong way. So I did want all of them to come under one umbrella. And this is the exhibition where probably the artists unite.
And something like, something very trivial, but something that is also coming from an anecdotal perspective. This whole exhibition also was kind of formed during our protests under an organization, what we were actively doing in Berlin during the CA and RC movement. How do you think that has helped you as an artist, or as an orchestrator of this exhibition, to develop this exhibition?
After coming to Berlin, how the situation developed, of course, being a part of the organization and working through that organization to make things happen, did really introduce me to a very different variety of people, how they see the Indian politics develop. And the CA and NRC protests, and also the Delhi pogrom, which took place in 2019, changed the course of Indian politics in many ways. I personally think it did make a whole generation political, which was extremely exciting to see, honestly, that there are more people who are voicing their opinions. But I think in India did really make me think more deeply and have a different understanding, have more in-depth views to certain things which probably would have been overlooked if I was just a silent spectator over social media or news organizations itself. So yes, that did change the course of the project.
This is actually very interesting to hear, like how all of these experiences for yourself came together, and we are in this process of understanding this exhibition. And I personally feel that we are not at all in a position at the moment also to completely fully grasp the exhibition, because this exhibition is also something that is ongoing. So I was just thinking that, any last words from yourself, because before we end this conversation. So how would you respond to that?
Yeah, of course, this is a ongoing process, and this is a ongoing form of resistance, which will probably come. I could say that from me as an artist, as an individual. I do really appreciate all the artists who has been a part of this. I do really appreciate all the people who agreed to take part in it, even despite their difficult schedules. And I do appreciate everyone really willing to speak up against something which is absolutely not justifiable. So I wish more voices come up. As they say, charity begins at home. So I think people start speaking up back home, and we try to uproot the seed of fascism which has been planted in India 7 years back.
Yeah, but I also think in the similar way, and I wish that we can, get a situation where this exhibition is becoming transnational. It is not anymore where it is being shown right now. It goes beyond that space, not only digitally but also physically. And more and more people can witness it. So maybe with this, we can end our conversation today. And I think after this, there are two more performances which will happen today, and which will be available for people's viewing online. So thank you so much, Sujatro, for your time, and thanks for talking, and thank you for inviting me to curate the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And yeah, it's been a pleasure working with you and everybody else in the team. It wouldn't have been possible without any of them. And I think there are two performances which follow, and I hope people would enjoy it and really put it out there in their circles and talk about it more. And yeah, thank you so much and see you all soon.
Yeah.
Ciao.